Deep in the vast frozen wilderness of North America, a legend whispers through the trees. A creature of insatiable hunger, born from the darkest corners of the human soul. It is said to prowl the forests in search of flesh, its gaunt frame stretched thin over jagged bones, its hollow eyes burning with a hunger that can never be satisfied. Fueled by the ultimate act of taboo, cannibalism, the Wendigo. But what is the truth behind the legend? Is the Wendigo merely a cautionary tale against greed and desperation? Or does something more sinister lurk within the shadows of history? Join us as we uncover the origins and the terrifying reality behind one of North America's most feared supernatural entities. The Wendigo is a terrifying, nightmarish beast, once human but now twisted by an insatiable hunger that has stripped away its humanity. The Wendigos are described as skinny, with a skull and skeleton pushing through their sludge-decaying skin, giving it the decayed appearance of a mummified corpse. Its elongated limb, tattered lips with antlers or horns erupting from its head, its gaping maw, lined with jagged, yellowed fangs, is built for tearing through flesh and crushing bone, while its razor-sharp claws can shred prey in an instant. The Wendigo originates from the oral traditions of the Algonquian-speaking tribes, including the Cree, Ojibwe, Innu, and Naskapi peoples of Canada and the northern United States. These tribes, living in the cold, harsh climates of the Great Lakes region, the forests of Canada, and the northeastern USA, faced the constant struggle of food scarcity. Though descriptions of the Wendigo can vary across cultures, a shared belief among all these tribes is that the Wendigo is a malevolent, cannibalistic, supernatural creature. It is strongly associated with winter, cold, famine, and starvation. In Cree mythology, the Wendigo is sometimes depicted as a spirit rather than a physical entity. It is believed to be an evil spirit that can possess humans. The spirit may enter a person either by biting them or through a dream, causing the individual to become cannibalistic, deranged, or violent. Some people are thought to be more vulnerable to Wendigo possession, such as those who are greedy, gluttonous, or experiencing hunger or starvation. Some legends describe the Wendigo as an emaciated figure with ashen flesh, while others depict it as a giant creature standing up to 12 feet or 3.65 tall, or as a beast that grows larger the more it consumes. It is often said to have sunken or glowing eyes, sharp yellowed fangs, and razor-sharp claws. Its lips may be chewed off or completely missing, a grotesque sign of its relentless hunger. Depending on the tale, the Wendigo may be hairless or covered in fur, and may have pointed ears and horns or antlers resembling a deer. The Wendigo is infamous for its foul stench of rotting flesh, and its presence is often first detected by the horrible odor it emits. In another version of the legend, the first Wendigo was once a valiant warrior who struck a dark bargain with the devil. To save his tribe, he sacrificed his soul and was cursed to become a Wendigo. But when peace was restored, his monstrous form was no longer needed. Shunned by his own people, he was cast out, condemned to roam the wilderness as an outcast, forever consumed by an insatiable hunger. Some believe that a Wendigo still harbors the remnants of the human it once was, trapped and frozen where its heart should be. The only way to truly destroy the creature is to kill the person imprisoned within. While a few legends speak of rare instances where the human soul is rescued, most tales insist that death is the only means of release from the Wendigo's curse. Wendigos are believed to have razor-sharp vision, heightened hearing, and an extraordinary sense of smell, along with formidable strength and speed, allowing them to stalk and overpower their prey with ease. These terrifying beasts lurk in the frozen woodlands and icy lakes of Canada and the northern United States, moving effortlessly through deep snow and across frozen terrain, constantly searching for new victims. Among the Assiniboine, Cree, and Ojibwe, a satirical ceremonial dance was sometimes performed during times of famine to emphasize the gravity of the Wendigo taboo. This ceremony, known as Windigo Gukans Himawin, involved participants wearing masks and dancing backward around a drum. The last known Wendigo ceremony in the United States took place at Lake Windigo, on Star Island and Cass Lake, within the Leech Lake Indian Reservation in northern Minnesota. A Wendigo does not necessarily lose its human capacity for thought or speech. In some accounts, it can communicate clearly with its intended victims. often taunting or threatening them. A folk tale recorded in the early 20th century by Lottie Chicagua Marsden, an ethnographer of the Chippewas of Rama First Nation, describes a Wendigo that not only speaks, but also wields tools, demonstrates a chilling resilience to partial dismemberment, and even resorts to auto-cannibalism or devouring its own flesh. Beyond its portrayal as a cannibalistic monster in certain traditional folklore, some Native Americans also interpret the Wendigo as a broader concept. Symbolically, the Wendigo represents unchecked greed, excessive consumption, and a destructive drive for self-aggrandizement, forces that disrupt harmony and bring ruin if left uncontrolled. Ojibwe scholar Brady DeSanti describes the Wendigo as a marker indicating a person imbalanced both internally and toward the larger community of human and spiritual beings around them. The earliest known written account of the Wendigo appears in the 1636 report by Paul Le Jeune, a French Jesuit missionary living among the Algonquin people in what is now Quebec. Le Jeune recounted a woman's warning about an ancient creature that had already devoured several members of a nearby tribe and would continue its gruesome feast unless it was drawn away. The Wendigos are believed to prowl the forests once inhabited by the Algonquian people. Over the years, those who vanished without a trace were often rumored to have fallen prey to these monstrous beings. Reports of Wendigo encounters have persisted through time, not only from Native Americans, but also from white settlers who claim to have witnessed the terrifying creature. Between the late 1800s and the 1920s, a Wendigo was said to have been spotted near the town of Roseau in northern Minnesota. Each reported sighting of the creature was followed by an unexpected death, fueling widespread fear. However, the sightings eventually ceased, and life in the town returned to normal. A few notorious cases of murder and cannibalism in North America were attributed to the Wendigo. One such instance occurred in Alberta, Canada, in 1879, when a Cree hunter and trapper named Swift Runner claimed that a Wendigo spirit had entered his dreams and urged him to consume his family. He was arrested, tried for murder, found guilty, and hanged later that year. Another case took place in 1906 within the Sandy Lake First Nation community in northern Ontario. Tribal shaman Jack Fiddler and his brother Joseph Fiddler were charged with the murder of Joseph's daughter-in-law, whom they had strangled to prevent her from being possessed by a Wendigo. Following their arrest, Jack Fiddler escaped police custody and took his own life by strangulation, while Joseph Fiddler succumbed to tuberculosis in prison in 1909. By the early 20th century, psychologists and missionaries began using the term Wendigo psychosis to describe a culture-bound syndrome found among Native and First Nations people. The syndrome was characterized by delusions of being possessed by an evil spirit, depression, violent behavior, an irresistible urge to consume human flesh, and, in some cases, cannibalism. The diagnosis was also applied retroactively to historical instances of cannibalism in North America. However, the existence of Wendigo psychosis is still debated by some scientists. Since the 19th century, the Wendigo legend has captivated non-Indigenous authors, appear in various films and television. In The Wilderness Hunter in 1893, future U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt recounts a goblin story about a bear-like creature that stalks two hunters, leaving only one to survive and tell the tale. Readers have speculated that Roosevelt's beast could be either Bigfoot or Wendigo. British writer Algernon Blackwood explores a similar theme in his novella The Windigo in 1910, which follows a mysterious creature preying on a campsite in the Canadian wilderness. American novelist Stephen King also features a Wendigo in his horror novel Pet Sematary in 1983. Canadian author Margaret Atwood examines the Wendigo legend in Strange Things, The Malevolent North in Canadian Literature in 1995, a collection of lectures on the themes and mythology in Canadian literature. The movie Dark Was the Night and Ravenous in 1999, a film inspired by the ancient myth of cannibalism, in which those who consume human flesh gain their victims' strength and develop an insatiable hunger for human flesh. And Scott Cooper's Antlers in 2021. In Antlers, the Wendigo is depicted as a deer-like entity with a glowing heart, driven by an insatiable hunger that transfers from host to host. The Wendigo legend has been passed down through the oral traditions of North American tribes long before the arrival of Europeans. Some anthropologists suggest it originated as a cautionary tale emphasizing the importance of community, warning against greed, selfishness, and isolation. The Wendigo embodied the relentless cold and hunger that threatened survival in the unforgiving northern wilderness, where banding together and sharing resources was essential, especially during brutal winters. The tale may have also served as a warning to children, urging them not to stray too far into the woods.